I now live in South Jersey. I am like 35 minutes from here. So that's my backstory. And I end up in the credit industry from about 2017 and officially registered my company in 2021. And I've been helping individuals inside the church, outside the church, change their life, buy their homes, buy their dream cars, all of that, giving them the information that they need. Because when you have the information, you can make a responsible decision. Credit is something that a lot of us are ashamed of. For it's bad, we don't really want anyone to know. And we keep it a secret. But if you don't reach out, you will never know. And once you give people the opportunity and open the door for them to reach out, I get involved, help you, show you what you need to do, teach you what you need to learn, because I'm into you getting the information. I am like a record man, right? You call him, he give you his ticket, I don't want to call him back again. Because when you call him back, what it means? Bad news. Your car is down. So when you come to me or you work with us, after I get you where you need to be, I don't want to see you again. So I give you the information so you can move responsibly from there on out. Is that okay? Yes, because if we understand, because even with the churches, I personalize, I specialize, in personal credit. And you have business credit. The churches, that's not my area of specialization. I am saying this to you, Pastor Henry, and all of you that are here. You need to learn about business credit. If you understand business credit, the church can do a lot of things without anyone being involved as personal guarantor. Once they build it the right way and get it organized, and a lot of churches struggle because we don't have money, right? We would like to do more, but we don't have the money to do it. Credit gives us that leverage. The church positions itself where business credit is concerned, and I'm telling you about this, and you can build on it later on. One position itself, it can do things, get access to funds, and all kind of things without depending on any of the members. You buy things all the time, right? You buy supplies, all of that can be done through business credit. All of that can be done through business credit and build out the church business credit profile, and then you put yourself in the position that you need. All right, let me ask you a question. It's on the board, but let me see if you were reading. What is credit? All right, so that is the layman's definition. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act and the Truth in Lending Act defines credit as the right granted by a creditor to receive goods, services, or anything like that and defer its payment. Credit. You get something, you incur debt, and you pay it back later. So once you get it, you are now indebted to whoever gave that to you. And this is done with money, goods, cars, right? And it is also done with services. So that is what credit is. Your ability to borrow. Nobody teach you about credit in school. Have you ever learned about credit in school? No. In Jamaica, where most of us are from, and throughout the Caribbean, especially most of us who are over 30, no, not everything by cash, right? Now it start to change there, but the system is not as developed like it is here. You have more than 100 million credit files exist between the credit bureau. More than 1 billion data is exchanged every month. Every day there are hundreds of thousands of credit transactions that is done. So it's not something that we can escape. Sometimes even if you have cash, once you don't have a credit profile, no one wants to do business with you. First thing they will ask you, what is your credit? And most of us have no clue when we just get here. What do you mean credit? Because everything we did was by cash. And it's either you have the money or you don't have the money. But the American economy is built on credit. And if you don't know that, you are going to be left in the dark and you are going to not leverage all the opportunities that you can leverage. Next slide, please. What is a credit bureau? Have we ever heard this term before? So let me give you the legal definition because what I do in credit, I do consumer law based credit repair where I deal with the laws that deal with credit. And at the end, you will see some of these laws. So a consumer reporting agency, that is the proper name for a credit bureau. That's the proper name, a consumer reporting agency. How many of us believe that the credit bureaus is a part of the government? Let me see your hand. Let me see your hand. A lot of you believe it's a part of it's part of the government. The credit bureaus, as they're informally called, as I said, the proper name is CRAs. As you see, they're consumer reporting. They are private companies. Private companies that collects your data and resell it. Let me say this to you. And when I got into this business, I was shocked. Everything that you do is being collected and stored. Did you hear what I just said? Everything that you do is being collected and stored, and they are stored in the consumer reporting agencies. There's a lot of them, not just the three that you know. The three that you know just deal with credit reports and many other things, but that's just the three you know. How many you have bank accounts? Every check that you have ever written that is deposit in the bank is basically recorded in a check writing consumer reporting agency. Every check that you have written, every lease that you have signed, once it's recorded in anywhere publicly, that is being recorded and stored. Every checking account that you have ever had and opened and closed is recorded in a consumer reporting agency. That is why you might go to the bank and try to open an account if you had did bad on your previous account and they deny you. And you're saying you have a consumer reporting agency called Check Systems. Anything that you do with checking account and anything like that, they record it. You can dispute all of that, and we'll get to that at the end. When you are evicted from anywhere, that is recorded. You have screening consumer reporting agencies that collect that information. We are dealing specifically here with credit reports. So we have the three major credit. Let me get the name for the three major credit bureaus. TransUnion, they are the big guys. You have others that collect the same kind of data like them, but they are not as well known. Why you don't know about them? Historically, credit bureaus operate in secrecy. They don't want you to know about them. Why? Because they sell your data. And if you have any issues, it's a problem. And the more you don't know, it's the better for them. So that is why you don't really know. And that is why we believe that they're a part of the government. But they are not. They are private companies that are governed by laws. And the laws were created to protect you and I. Let us go to the next slide. So we understand what a credit bureau is, right? Private company that gathers and maintain credit information. What is a credit file? You remember I said that credit bureau gather the information. Once they gather it, they compile what is known as a credit file. That credit file is not your credit report. That credit file is all the information that they have on you. Are you following me? Everything that they have on you, you have a million name, they have all of that there. Your email address, I remember one time I ordered, let me show you how invasive these individuals are. Years ago, when I lived in New York, Have you ever heard of LexisNexis? We know what LexisNexis is. Consumer Reporting Agency. If you have bankruptcy, they are the one that gather this data and sell it to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. If you get a chance, order your LexisNexis credit report or your consumer report. I ordered mine, right? And when I ordered it, because they compile the data and just match it to your name, my landlord, my landlord at the time, we call him Andy. I thought that Andy was his real name, right? When I ordered LexisNexis consumer, his entire name came on it. It showed me how much he bought the house for. It showed me the agent that signed off on the property. It showed me which bank he got the money from. It showed me who owned the house prior. It showed me every insurance policy I have ever had and if you have ever lapsed on it. All of this information is there. And then if your neighbor, depending of the proximity, you give us information on your neighbor. That shouldn't be, but it is. So everything. So when you are moving, make sure you're moving carefully and don't just show all kind of information out there because it can come back to do what? Aren't you? These guys are selling your information. The more data they have, is the better for them. It's the better. When I get down to credit building, I'm gonna say something to you that is being pushed and tell you don't do it if you don't have to. So credit file is all the information that they have, all the information that they have, and they store in their database. They sell this, they sell different part, they sell different kind of information to different players. Next slide, please. What is our credit report? So we have our credit file, and then we have our credit report. Your credit report is a snapshot of your financial behavior. It details your credit accounts, your payment history, your credit inquiries, calendar accounts, and public records. So your credit report is data that is pulled from your credit file. But that data has a statute of limitation on it. Bankruptcy can only be reported on your credit report for 10 years. Other negative account can be reported for 7 years. So once it is past that statute of limitation, it cannot be included in your credit report, but they have it in your credit file. If you are applying for a job that is more than $150,000 in salary, or life insurance that is more than $150,000, they can show them that information that is past 7 and 10 years. Are you following me? So, because you are going into a different chest also, things that might not show up on your credit report, if you are applying for a job, it's beyond 7 years, applying for life insurance, it's more than not 7 years. You're applying for a job and the salary is more than $150,000. Life insurance policy is more than 150. They can show them all that they have in the file if they want to. So it's important that you protect what is in the file. So your credit report is a snapshot. Your credit report, next slide, please. This is what is in your standard credit. How many of have ever seen your credit report? All right. This is how your credit report is structured. The top part of the report, it has in personal information. All the names that you have ever used. You know, when you get your service from Verizon and you give them, what's your first name, Pastor Henry? You give them Nod, Henry, and then you go over to Comcast and give them Noddy, and then you go over to somewhere else and give them Henry. All of those names are there. They're collecting it. That would show up in the personal information section. And they use that to match you. Your social security number is there. Your addresses are there. Your date of birth is there. Your employer is there. But that information is used to match your info. It's not calculated in your credit score. Your personal information is not calculated in your credit score. It's there to match you. Then we have accounts, which is formerly called trade lines. Your Bank of America card, your Capital One card, your mortgage, your student loan, that's it. And then within that, they give you the history of your behavior with it. Then they have odd inquiry. Do we know what odd inquiries are for? Let me hear what odd inquiries are for. Why do you have inquiries? Huh? That's why your odd inquiries are for? So let me give you something what your odd inquiries are for. Huh? Bigger items? All right, let me teach you what the odd inquiries are for. Credit bureaus prior to 1970, anyone could just call and get access to your information. Are you following me? Your neighbor next door call, I have something to do with Sister Peaches. Do you have a file? And they would give it. In 1970, you have what is called a Fair Credit Reporting Act. We will see that down the line. That law is a privacy law. The privacy of your data. What is enshrined in that law is your right to privacy. So, what happens with the passing of that law? Anyone that accesses your credit report or requests it, the credit bureau has to record it. So, your hard inquiry is a list of all who have accessed your credit report in the last 2 years. So every time you apply for something, the credit bureau has to record it so that your privacy is protected. There are certain things in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. They cannot access your credit report unless you authorize it. If they access it without you authorizing it in writing, it's a violation of your right to privacy. Understand this? So your hard inquiry tells you in the last 2 years, because they usually last for 2 years, in the last 2 years, who accessed your credit report. Then you have what is called soft inquiries. They are under the hard inquiries. They don't affect your credit score. Hard inquiries do. Soft inquiries also all who have access to your credit report. But what happens? The hard inquiries usually when you apply for credit, or if you apply for a job, or anything like that, or insurance, then it has to be there. Usually they don't put the insurance one, and sometimes the employment one in the hard inquiry section. They put it in the soft inquiry section. The soft inquiry also is for when you have a credit account. The bank want to revisit your credit worthiness to see if the 2% interest rate or the 10% that they give you, if the standard that they measure to give you that, whether you still need it. Have you ever had a credit card and then out of nowhere you see your credit limit drop? Sometimes, whether drop or go down, you know why? They run your credit and that shows up in the soft inquiry section. And they either take back from you because you're not credit worthy anymore, or they increase your credit limit. Or you can request it. And some banks will do a soft inquiry that does report. Some banks will do a hard inquiry. That's what inquiries are for. Collections accounts. What are collections accounts for? Don't pay your bills, or or someone want to hijack you and say you owe them when you don't owe them, and they pull up a collections account. I should tell you the story of the collection industry. You would fall out if you understand what these guys do to people. I have a book that is coming out shortly in how to deal with collectors, and I document a lot of the cases. Once a debt collector call you and say you owe them, don't just admit say you owe them. There's certain responsibility that the collector has that they have to prove. There are individuals who debt collector create accounts and say that they owe them and arrest them to pay. That's a whole nother story. Income debts. That's what they're called. You can look it up. FTC. Whole lot of cases like these. Or debt tagging. Somebody that has the same name like you, that live in the same geographic location, but it's not you, and the debt collector doesn't have all the information on the account, so they put it on your credit profile and call you and say, this is yours, pay us. So not every collections account you should accept at face value. Some of these guys buy your information, construct credit profile, and I'm not talking about one case. I delve into this daily. And call you and give you your social, give you your name, give you the name of your family, and you believe you owe the debt when you didn't. This is the dark world that we're in. And a lot of consumers fall for this. Next slide, please. So, and public records, right? So, if judgments against you, bankruptcy, and all of that, that would fall on your credit report. You have a question, Pastor? You have a question? There's ways to deal with it. That's why you have me. I'm going to show you the laws that deal with it. But I am currently finishing up. I'm on the last chapter of a book that I'm about to publish. How to deal with it too, but I'll show you that at the end. And I show you your rights and the five major ways you can really attack debt collectors that most times they would not be able to deal with. What is your credit score and how is it different from your credit report? What is your credit score? Do we know what the number does? What it do? No, no, no. What is the purpose of the number? That number is a predictor of whether or not you will default on the credit within the next 90 days. That's what your credit score is really there for. Higher it is, it means that you are not going to default in the next 90 days. The lower it is, it means that you will default. So, how credit score came about is this. So, back then, in the early years, because you know that credit score came about in the 90s, the late 80s, and it hasn't been here for. So back then, when a creditor wanted your information, call up the credit bureau. And the credit bureau would pull your file and read out to them what they have in your file. And then they would give a recommendation of how they think you are. Another time I come and tell you the history of that. Things that used to be in your credit report, you would fall out. That they used to store there on record and creditor. Pastor Henry was a wife beater. That sort of stuff used to be in your credit report. But the government came in and cleaned up that and make sure certain like that. What is your name, Pastor? Name. Pastor Christopher is an alcoholic. Wine man. I I get you back as you talk about snake can run business. you, you thought you made you know business today. Yeah, so on a serious note, those sort of things used to be in your credit report. It used to be there. But the government put a stop to it because of the laws that are there. So now you don't have that anymore. So what happens because of the subjective nature of when they would call the credit bureau and it's a human being that would give the report and then recommend whether the creditor should do business with you. Five Year Isaac Corporation developed credit scoring model that is built on an algorithm. FICO stands for Fair Isaac Corporation. They are not the license the algorithm to the credit bureau to generate the score. Now, what is your credit report and how is it different from your credit score? Let me show you the game. Remember what I say your credit report is? What did I say your credit report is? The data. The data that your credit score generated from the data that is in your credit report. You get this? So when they want a score, they put the algorithm over the data and that pitches out your score with whatever is going on behind the scene in the algorithm for the credit score. That is trade secret. Nobody fully knows what goes on outside of the people inside of FICO. All that goes on inside the credit scoring model. That's a trade secret. They don't tell you that. There are certain things that we know, but there's more to it that we don't know. And they will never tell you because that's their trade secret. And the government allow them to do that. So your credit score is governed by the data that is in your credit report. So what does that tell you about your credit score and you being able to control it? Are you seeing the connection? If you control what your credit report looks like, you can control what your credit score look like. Are we seeing this? If you can control the data within your credit report, you control what your credit score look like. So having good credit and bad credit is not some genius thing. It is just understanding what is the data that I need to be in my credit report, and then you will have the score. And I am going to show you how to get a 700 credit score by just controlling three segments. You're at 700? Did you? Very good. That means you are controlling your data is really good. Very good. Are you have a lot of history? That is part of it. Are we learning? Corinne? I'm joking. I'm joking. What is the purpose of the credit score, right? What are some of the things that your credit is used for? Credit credit accounts. When you are renting, when you are renting, your credit score comes into play. You remember I said that you have consumer reports? When you are renting, you probably have at least three different consumer reports that come into play. Background screening, that is a consumer report that tells what your behavior is like. Whether you're a thief, you're not a thief, you don't pay on time, all of that sort of stuff. So you have the background that does the moral part, you have your credit score that does the payment part, and then you have the tenant that deals with your rental part. You have 18 major tenant screening consumer reporting agencies. 18. And you have certain rights that govern those. I can't get into them now because of time. When you are getting your car insurance, you know that your credit report comes into play. But it only has to do with underwriting process. cannot be used to do anything else with insurance. Only when they are doing the underwriting, they can pull your credit. I remember what I said, Lexus app, which is another consumer report. So what else will come into play? Your driving history, your history of dealing with insurance, which is another set of consumer reports. Also, they will also bring into play your history of paying car insurance. If you are known to lapse on them, they might tell you, we're not having it with you. We don't want you. But sometimes they are not going to tell you that. Let me tell you something here. Once your consumer report played a role in all or in part in the decision not to give you, they're supposed to tell you. If they don't tell you, it's a violation of your right. They might need to pay you $1,000. I just said, once your credit report or your consumer report played a role in the decision, they must tell you that that's why they deny you, and they must tell you where they get the information from that they used to do. If they don't, they have violated your rights. Make sure you make a note of that. Employers also, once you're going to look a job, a lot of employers use your credit report and they use consumer report. But let me tell you something again. If the employer is going to use another consumer report outside of your credit report, like a background screening report, you have to give them consent. Do you hear what I just said? You have to give them consent. If you don't give them consent, they have violated your rights. And when you give them consent, they have to give you a separate document from your application requesting that information. Are you following me? Make sure you have that so no one violate your right. Next slide, please. We have 5 types of credit accounts. Revolving credit accounts. Can somebody give me an example of a revolving credit account? Credit card. It's revolving, you keep using it and the money keeps going back. A line of credit would be a revolving credit also. Installment. What is that? What are installments? Car payment, mortgage, student loan, personal loan. Those are installment. Charge card. What is a charge card? Charge card. Yes, but there's a difference with a charge card and a regular credit card. We know the difference? Kind of, but not there. Take out? No, let me help you. A charge card, and thank you for trying. I love that. A charge card, predominantly, let me tell you who dominate charge card. American Express. What happens when you use a card as opposed to your regular credit card for most American Express card? You have to pay it off by the time everything that you use. That's a charge card. So that is the difference between a regular credit card and a charge card. Once you use it, you have to pay the entire balance by the due date. While your regular credit card, you can make a minimum payment, right? And then you carry the balance over, which is not good at times, and you pay it little by little. But a charge card, once you use it, you gotta pay back the full balance by the 30-day due date. That is the difference. So we know the difference now between a charge card and a regular credit card, a traditional credit card. We have a service credit. What are service credit? Where did Pastor Henry use the 3 different names? Remember where he used the 3 different names at the credit bureau? Yes, that is service credit. Your utilities and all of that, it's credit, but it's service credit. You see me? Got it? So it's credit, but it's service. And then we have open accounts. Most of us are not familiar with this. Do we know what an open account, an open credit account is? Most of us are not familiar with this. Because a lot of time, yes, you have to be in a whole different stratosphere to get access to this. No limit. Who usually gives this? What is one of the most famous ones we have? The American Express Black Card. The American Express Black Card has no limit. So if you don't have self-control, you stay away from that. You can use as much money on it as you want. There's no credit limit. But they only usually give this to people that have high net worth because you don't have any limit. Anything you want to buy, you want to use it to buy $100,000 car, you go and swipe it, it will go through. And there's no credit limit to it. American Express mostly do this. Probably when you get in the upper echelon in your finances, some of the other banks will give you, but they're not going to really give it to you like that. You have to have certain financial stability, and they see your network and they just say, all right, do whatever you want because you have the money to pay back. That's an open credit account. Next slide, please. So we understand the five different kind of credit accounts. What are they? Revolving, charge card, service, open, and installments. On your credit report, we passed that one. No one there. They disappear on me. All right, so let me tell you where. What are the two classifications of accounts on your credit report? There's only two types of accounts, and I'm talking about now positive side collections and bankruptcy and all of that. There are only two types of accounts that fall on your credit report. Do we know what they are? The business is not supposed to be on your personal credit report. It's there for a reason. In my next book, after the one that I'm doing, I will tell you why it's there. Two types of accounts: revolving and installments. Any account that you have will only fall under these two categories. Don't confuse what I just gave you five types of credit accounts, right? But there's only two classifications: installment and revolving. It's either you have it paying over and over and it's open and it keep coming back, or you have a fixed installment. You have a fixed time that you will finish paying. And once you finish, the account is done. That includes your student loan, your mortgage, a car payment, a personal loan, or revolving credit cards, line of credit. Good? How are we doing so far? We're learning. We are going to leverage your credit and help the church. Once you start to do better for yourself, you can do more for the church. Huh? If you're making more money, your offering look better. Huh? And if you can leverage your credit to make more money, and listen to me, the more money, this is how credit works. The more money you make is the more money they are willing to give you. You remember what I told you about the soft inquiries? You remember, have you ever seen all these offers in the mail? Why do you have those offers? The credit bureau is selling your information to the creditors. And the creditors get access to your credit report and send you those offers. That's why you see them. You can stop that. You can basically opt out. There's an opt out that you can opt out online and they can't sell you information. I opted out more than a decade ago. So I get none of those offers. Credit bureaus making money off us and we're not seeing a penny out of it. Next slide. We get past that one. Slide number 11. How many credit scores we have? Do we know? Go ahead. Three credit scores? You mainly see three. There is many credit scores. There is three areas of credit scores that we are familiar with, but the banks have their own scoring system. Lenders have their own scoring system. FICO alone have about 39 scores. When you are buying a car, it's not your regular FICO score the traditional lender use. They use what is known as your FICO auto. And they basically look on your history of buying cars. When you're looking at credit card, they use your FICO bank rate score, which is a different score. When you're doing a mortgage, a different score. So you have many credit scores, but you have two owners of the credit scoring models. FICO is one. How many you have access to your credit bureau scores like your experience? You have access to it? You have Credit Karma as well? Credit Karma, no? Does that? You have both? When you look on them, your score look the same? You know why? Both of them are using two different scoring models. Credit Karma uses what is known as a Vantage scoring model. That scoring model is owned by the credit bureaus, four of them. Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, and another one that you might have never heard about, was the credit bureau. They're like the fourth one in the wins in office. They are the ones who build the Vantage scoring model to compete with FICO. Remember, FICO licensed the scoring model to the credit bureaus. So every time they use it, so they build their own score to compete, but nobody takes it that seriously. 90% of lenders still use FICO, about 10% uses the Vantage score. And a few others, why it looks different? Because it's Vantage. And in your regular score and your experience, all that, why it's different? Because it's a FICO. You get this? Why do we look different on the three credit bureaus? That your score looks different? Why? Huh? That's it. Remember what I said. Your credit score is generated from the data in your credit report. And remember, some lenders don't report to all three. Some of them do report to all three. Some of them don't. And some of them might have an account that the other one doesn't have. That's why you look different because they're independent companies with their own data. And that is why you have three different scores. Not really. As I said, once you understand how to control a report, you're in control. And some lenders, because of the nature of how the credit reporting industry was, some lenders only report to one credit bureau. Some reports to two. Some report to all three. So there's not much that we can really do about that. What we can really do, though, is control the data that each has to a certain extent. Huh? Yes, that's how we get down to credit repair. All right, so let me. So this is how your credit score is calculated. Your credit score has five segments. How many segments? Five. This is what makes up your score. The most important segment is your payment history. 35% of your score. I never get to say this. Do we underscore our scoring range? Your credit score is from 300 to, yeah. 300, you can't do nothing about. You just get the 300 off the top. What you can calculate is the 550 that makes up the 850. This percentage here has to do with the 550 points. Your payment history has to do with 35%, which is 192 points. Utilization. Do we know what utilization is? The amount of credit you use in respect to the amount of credit that you have. The higher utilization, not good for you. The lower you utilize, good for you. That's 30% of your credit score, 100 and over 60 points. The- Go ahead. Mhm. Your income has to do with your debt to income ratio. Your utilization has to do with your credit availability to how much of it you use, which means the more you use, it appears to lenders, is the more desperate you are financially. Make sense? Because if you have $1,000 in credit and you use 900, especially if you keep carrying the balance, it means that you are not financially stable. That's why you are not paying it off. See what I'm saying? So that's what you utilize. You utilize that story. Remember your credit report. I never remember to preface this in the beginning. Your credit report is a moral statement about your financial behavior. That's what your credit report is. It's a moral statement about whether or not you can be trusted. If we give you our money, whether you are somebody that will pay it back or not, that's what your credit report really is. Statement about your moral trustworthiness with money. Credit age, 15% of your credit score, over 82 points. Credit mixture. Remember, I told you about revolving and installment. You need both of those kind of accounts in the credit profile. That gives you 55% of your points out of the 550, 10% of your score, and then the age of your credit. So if you have good positive accounts and your credit that doesn't have any late payments or anything like that, do not trouble them. They have to do with the age of your credit because the lender needs to know whether or not you have experience in borrowing and paying back. The age of your credit tells that story. If you keep getting negative accounts and you get them off, and your account only have 1 year experience, the lender might not want to trust you. That is when you're buying a house. How many of you have buy a house before? Just give me a but don't put your hand all the way. What you actually have to do when you are applying to buy a house? How many years you have to prove to them that you have been stable? 2 years, at least 2 years. They need 2 years worth of reporting history, and they need not really credit reporting history, working history in the same job. Means you are what? Stable. And they need 2 years of what else? Tax return to see if you're telling that you have consistently made that money. See this? They're watching you and they want to make sure if we give you this money, even though a mortgage is one of the greatest scams that has ever been invented. Yes, 2 years. First off, your banking history. When you're buying a house, if you don't own a house yet, and you're planning to buy a house or you're near to buy a house, make sure you are documenting the movement of your money. You can't just get a partner draw and throw it in the bank is going to say, where did this money come from? If you are saving to buy a house and you're getting a partner draw, let the person that is giving you the partner draw write you a check and put on it that it's either a gift or a loan or something. And I wouldn't really say loan because it's going to be viewed as a debt. So they write it as a gift, not cash, because you will have to explain how the cash came about. So once you're, they don't recognize that. They don't recognize that. If you have a business and most of your money is generated in the business, and you're gonna buy a house, start to write yourself a paycheck from the business and lodge it in your personal, so that it is traceable. Once it's not traceable, the bank is going to give you a headache. Uh, Yes, because remember, you have a lot of money laundering. That is why they basically do that. When we were buying our house and we're moving money from the business, every week we have to write a check and make sure we check. And then when we submit it to the underwriter, you know what the underwriter says? I want to see in your business account that this check came from there. I screenshot it and say, no, make sure we're seeing on the top the URL that you're actually on the bank. A whole lot of headache. And the only reason why I knew that because years ago, when I never had any money to buy any house, I went first time home by a seminar. And they told that story, and I never forget it. Make sure your money is traceable. Once you're gonna do a house, if your family is gonna give you money, let them write in a check. If you're gonna give your kids, go ahead, write it in a, and write it as a gift. You have to allow it to be traceable. No, you have to allow it to be traceable because if you just come up with a lump sum cash, the bank has to explain where the money comes from you. Because remember, the banks are regulated and you have money laundering taking place. Banks get into problem with the governments for this. So they have to make sure that you are traceable and it's not a family member that is in some illegal activity give you their cash to hide it or something like that. That is the logic behind it. That's why they need because it's their self-preservation as well. Go ahead. Yes. 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 That's the best thing. So even if you were bringing it in lump sum, right? How you would overcome the suspicion is if all of those clients that paid you in cash, you give them a receipt. So the receipt becomes traceable to where the money is coming from. So once you have something to tie the money to, that is really the key. So once you're giving out receipt, because businesses collect cash all the time, you understand? So you just gotta give out a receipt. Pastor Henry. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Where you get the money? Mhm. Yes. Yes. So make sure you're paying attention to this information. So you know how to move so that you are not scrutinized and that you can do your business easily. Once you are running a small business, every single one of you that is in the church, once you're running a small business, it's best for you to have a LLC. If you're under $40,000 LLC, if you're above 40,000 going to 100,000 partnership, something like that. And this is not legal advice. I have to do the disclaimer. But it's a different way to manage your money, and there's things that you can do under your business that you can't do personally. You understand what I'm saying? Especially if you have vehicle and all of that, make it under your business. Whole different ball game where taxes can. And this is not connery. This is you working within the system and leveraging what the system gives you. How do you generate a credit score? You generate a credit score on FICO, you have to have an account for 6 months. If you don't have the account for 6 months, they're not going to give you a credit score. Vantage score, once you have an account, immediately they give you a credit score. So some of you might look at your credit report and you don't see a score because your account is not old enough. Next slide. These are the range for credit score range. Still logging behind. Credit score range. Poor credit. I thought that he would be working with me back there. All right, number 15, if anyone is back there. Credit score range. Poor credit. Do we know what is your score when your credit is poor? Oh, he's back there. All right. Keep rolling. I like you. 300 to 579. That's poor credit. And we have something in the credit repair industry where we say if your credit begins with a 3, 4, 5, or 6, you need to see us. 580 to 669, fair credit. So that's when you have a fair credit score. Banks will work with, and you might be able to buy a house with fair credit, but it's usually like a FH. Good credit, 680 and above. That says 670, but in truth, the bank you're looking for 680 and above. That's good credit. Very good credit, 740, 799. Excellent 800, which is Pastor Henry and Lady Henry. You're leading by example. Yes. You have to basically lick all the areas perfectly. And I'm going to tell you how to really maximize the areas. But to tell you the truth, over 720, you don't need to scratch your head. Once you're over 720, you will be able to do almost anything the 800 or 850 guy will do. It's just that your interest rate might look radically different. That's it. So you might get under 1% and those crazy numbers once you're in the 800. That is really the difference. But in terms of access, not watch this. Look on the difference between good credit and excellent credit. I'm going to take you next. Look on this so you understand how the game is being played. If you borrow a loan with excellent credit, right? Keep the numbers. You might come in at 4%. Look at how much you will pay on a $25,000 loan in interest. How much will you pay? If you have excellent credit and you borrow a loan, go to the next slide for me, please. So they see this. If you borrow, this is how credit works, and this is where your money is going invisibly and you're not seeing it. If you have a $25,000 loan at 4% with excellent credit, because that will allow you to get that kind of interest rate, how much will you pay on the $25,000 in interest? 2,600. If you have poor credit, which is from 579 and below, on the same $2,500, how much is your interest? $12,000. Six times just between the two numbers. They look for you. When you have great credit, they look for you to do business with you. When you have bad credit, you have to look for them and they hide. Are you seeing the difference? The difference with between good credit and bad, nine. Tell me what $9,000 can do for you. A lot of things. A very good vacation. Depending on where you live, it could even be a down payment on a house. Just because your score looks different, more of your money is gone. How much side is that on the 9,000? 10%. Church could have gotten $900 more. You see what I'm saying? So it is important that you understand this. Next slide. How to build out your credit profile. Remember what I told you about building it out? This is to build it from scratch. If you don't have any credit established, who are their hands up? You have your hand up? Go ahead. Hmm. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Insurance. Yes. It's still there. It's sti- it's still there. No, I say if it's still there, you need to see me. Go ahead. Okay. Yes. No, but if you depending on the co it was because this is one of the issues that exists currently that the CFPB tried to address, and the Trump administration reversed it, where medical bills wouldn't turn up on your credit anymore, and they basically and recant the rule that they implemented right before Biden left. Because one of the areas that we have issue in, because for example, the rule that govern a medical collection, it cannot show up on your credit report until at least 12 months after the incident. So the fact that it came out earlier, that's a violation. But you know that. You still have credit if you don't have any credit. You have secure credit cards or you have secure loans. We know what a secure card and a secure loan is. What is a secure card and a secure loan? It's where you give your money and they issue credit to you with your money, and the real benefit is they report it as if they basically give you credit. But the credit bureaus know that it's a secure. And it doesn't carry the same weight. It starts you out and bill you. It doesn't carry the same weight like a regular card, but that's how you start out. And you need to do these with installment and revolving. As I said, you need a mixture to make sure you're maximizing. Gotta pay on time. Do not open. Another thing that will happen, if you open too much account in close proximity, the bank see this as you being desperate. So as a result, because sometimes the bank will give you money, and by the next month they close the account because you open too many accounts close to each other. You need to give yourself at least a 6 month gap between when you do that. Plus, you are also protecting your inquiry section. You have too much inquiry. So, like Pastor Henry and my brother in the back, if you have an 800 credit score and you have more than four odd inquiries on your credit report in the last year, about 4 or 5, and you go to Chase, they're going to deny you, even with the 800, because you have had too many accounts close by. And I have had individuals that I have shown how to leverage their credit, but they do it too fast, and they got several thousand Wells Fargo, several thousand City, several thousand Capital One. Session they had in like 2 weeks, they had over 60 grand. See the power of what I'm telling you about? You could not work 60 grand in 2 weeks. They had over 60 grand. You know what Chase did? Claw back their 25 that they give them because they had too many accounts that were open nearby. But you gotta spread it out. This is the power of credit. You can access a whole lot of money if you know how to play the game. You can access millions with that credit score that you have. Millions. If you know how to leverage it, especially if you have a business. Go ahead. Someone else? Yes. Finish paid having it as it closed or it's still open. All right. So what you wanna do? Cause remember how the banks make their money. Do we know how money is created? How money is created? Through debt. We have a fractional reserve system, which means the bank can lend you $10 on every dollar that they have in the bank. It doesn't mean they have $10 there. If they have a dollar, they can lend you $10. Okay? When that $10 is lent out, it's just a computer figure. It's not real money. When you get the money and you use it, and then you start to pay back, that's when the real money is created. Are you no the debt generate the money that you are paying them. So the bank, why I say all of that? The bank need you to use the card. If you are not using the card, they're gonna shut it down for inactivity. If you have cash and you are gonna use the card, just use the card and pay it back. There is something that most of you might even never know. You can generate income from your credit card. If you have high limit credit cards and it has cash back and you have the cash, you can generate income. So the bank says to you, I will give you 50 cents for every dollar that you use. And you have 12 grand on the card, right? And you have the 12, you was going to make a $12,000 purchase and you have the 12 grand. Use the card and pay back the 12 grand. How much money you just generate? 50 cents per dollar. You're going to generate. Even though to get that much money, you have to have higher limits. That's how you can generate income from your credit cards. You can actually buy a lot of things with the points on your credit cards. You can go on vacation and never spend a dollar with the reward points on your credit card. You can travel first class, never pay a dollar with the points on your credit card. If you know how to leverage your credit. Are you seeing the picture now? Are you seeing the picture? You have people that every month make $2,000 to $3,000 just off their credit cards because of the cashback rewards. Go ahead. Yeah, close it. Yes, yes. 60 days. Back to the answer. What does that tell you? You need to use your card. Because when emergency comes up, you will need those cards. Have that money back there. Listen, if you have a good credit score, like somebody like you, Pastor, and your wife, it is not bad to own a line of credit, even if you are not going to use it. Have 50, 60, 70, 80 grand in a line of credit that just there. Because you don't pay unless you use it. And when you use it, you only pay interest on what you use. Once your credit is good, you're supposed to be leveraging it. It's not just to buy a house or car. Have this line of credit sitting there. And instead of you use cash, because your debit card doesn't give you anything. Your credit card can give you back stuff. Go ahead. They love you. Once you're using the money and giving them back money, they come to you and say, you want 30,000 more? They start to look for you to give you. And I am not saying, and listen what I am telling you, one of the most deadly debt you can find yourself in is credit card debt. You got to be responsible. Very high, depending on who you get it with and what your credit score look like, and you can negotiate it. And tell them that I'm not willing to take that if it's looking like that. Go ahead and then I press on. I'm gonna skip some of this and move down. Some banks do offer it, especially personal ones. Some banks, not all banks. To tell you the honest truth, the best lenders to do business with is not really the traditional banks. Credit union are the best lenders to do business with. They are more flexible. They have more products that they give you access to. For example, let me give you one that most of you need to leverage that you might not be leveraging, which the rich play this game all the time. Do you know what is a pledge loan? A pledge, right? Say you want to buy a car, $15,000, and you want to buy the car cash, but you're gonna just feel so bad when you see your bank account take that 15,000. You know that feeling when you see a big chunk of your money is gone and it's just gone. And after you have the thing, you're saying, I feel better seeing those zeros than seeing this. You can solve that problem with a pledge loan. What a pledge loan is, you would take that $15,000, go to the credit union and say, I need a pledge loan. They take the $15,000 that you give them and give you 15. Your 15,000 is there, and they say you have 36 months to pay me back. Every month that you say your payment is $500. I'm just giving you rough numbers. Every month you pay back the $500, 500 out here and become available back to you. When you pay off everything, your 15,000 is there. Yes. Mhm. Depends. It all depends on what you are planning to do with the money and how much you are paying to access. Because what you're actually doing is preserving your money instead of your money wipe out with that car. When it is, so for example, you bought that car, part of the calculation is this. You bought that car for the $15,000. It depreciates completely. 50 is gone, the value of the car is gone. Right? Say you put 15,000 in interest. You will have back what? 12,000 out of your 15 if you're factoring the interest. So you have a depreciated car, but you still have 12 grand. So if you do the maths and analyze all that has to do with it, it will make sense. Yeah, you gotta do the math with any of these that you're doing. Once you do that, you will. So what it does, you use your money as collateral. Another way, I see I'm coming. Another way how you can do a pledge loan. Those of you who have stock portfolios, you can get a pledge loan against your stock portfolio, probably for like 50%. The bank. This is how Elon Musk buy Twitter. He got billions against his Tesla stock to borrow. Now he owns Tesla, owns Twitter. Twitter is generating the money to pay back the debt. So what I'm saying? And he didn't touch his stock. So sometimes if you have a stock portfolio, the credit union will say, we will lend you, say you have 12 grand, 13, whatever. They say, we'll lend you 15%, 7.5. And they lock up 7.5 out of your stock where you can't sell them or get rid of it until you pay them back the 7.5. So you actually use your asset to leverage to get money that you couldn't get otherwise. And when you're done paying them back, you have back your stocks. You didn't have to sell them off to spend the money. Go ahead. Yeah. No, that has nothing to do with your credit score. Once you're moving it between the banks, they are fine because they're seeing it coming from one bank to the next bank, and the next bank would have known where your money is coming from. So banks trust banks, banks just don't trust us. Yeah, so once you're moving it, you just wire it from one bank. Or if I don't know if Zelle is in Canada. If Zelle is there, just Zelle the money over you. Eh? Oh, Guyana, I thought you said Canada. Yeah, it would be best if you wire it. And the wire guy would probably cost you about $30, $40 per transaction to wire it. Now, if you just come here, when you say you just came to live, all right, so the fastest way to build credit, go ahead, the bank or a credit union, you just, because it's not all banks who do it. So some banks do it, so let me show you a better way to do it without putting up your money up front. You have what we call credit builder cards and installment loan. One of them, several of them, you have a company called Kickoff, you have Ava, you have Self, and you have a lot of them. Why I usually recommend these to my clients is because they are not a traditional credit card, but the payment history and all that function like a traditional card. What they will do, for example, like Ava, which is the one I usually recommend a lot, Ava will give you up to $2,500 on the card. But the 2,500 is not available to you. What might be available? 30 $40, and you only can use it for certain. And you pay them like not about $10 a month, and they report that payment as a credit payment. And then you are not exposing yourself to run up the debt because they make sure that you can't go crazy with the card, and they report it every month, and you have a high limit of the 2,500. What they also do when you do it, they don't run an audit file as a traditional credit card would do. They run the data in the checking account. Once they're seeing money coming and going, they use that as the means to give you the card. So you save the audit inquiry exposure, you save going crazy with the card if you are not trained to handle credit, and you're getting the credit reporting. You have another installment loan. The company is called Credit Strong. Installment loan can give you up to 3 grand, 5 grand, 10,000. You pay them a monthly fee, $30, $40, whatever it is. They report this installment every month when you pay it. That 30 or $40 that you're paying, they open a CD account, put that money in there, and whether you say you want a 10-year term or 5-year term, after the 5 or 10 years, they give you back all of those payments and you have the credit history. You can cancel at any time. But I don't tell anyone to cancel because you're getting the credit history. I remember 15% of your score is the history. So those are the fastest way to do it. Then once you generate a score from those two kind of accounts and you start to build a score now, you go to the traditional bank and get the card. You understand? So that is the fastest and the safest way that mitigates risk and mitigating you damaging your credit by using too much of the credit and go crazy. So self, kick off, Ava, I recommend Ava over most of it. It's much easier. And I like how Ava work. And you don't get any other online. Online. Yes. And you can take my information when I'm leaving and I can give you more info if you need. Go ahead. Authorized user. Authorized user. Yes. So that is the other way, right? That also, you remember the utilization problem that we discussed? That is a way to stagger the utilization as well. So, Pastor, what you just said is this. If you know someone that already has credit, like a credit card, don't do it if they don't have good behavior. right? If they don't have good credit behavior, don't do it because it will damage you. They can add you to their credit card as an authorized user. What will happen is all of their data on that particular account will now come over on your. So if they have the card for 10 years, 10 years will come over on your credit profile. All the payment history that they made will be on your credit profile for the last 2 years. But if they are late, you are late. If they mess up, you get messed up. So that is the risk with doing that. But once they have good behavior, you will have it. However, you can allow them to do it and tell them that you don't want any card or anything. You just need the history. As the bank will issue you a card too, but you don't want that. Other thing about that that you need to also understand is that any utilization they have, that will also show on yours. So, for example, if they have 2,500 and they use 2,400, that is 90 some percent, you will be 90 some percent. So it will hurt you too. But that is a way. But that kind of account does not carry the same weight as if the account is in your name. Doesn't carry the same weight. The algorithm reads it different because it's not your primary account. So you want primary accounts even if you're gonna use that. So if you're gonna start out with that, as soon as your score gets well up, you need to get accounts in your name. Because some market company or certain underwriters, they will basically don't buy you one place, you just have authorized users. What if they add you now by next month, it will be reporting on your credit report? Because all reports usually report on a normal circumstances once per month. So as soon as they add you, once the next cycle come around, it will be reported. So that is another. If you have a family friend that is just as I said, make sure the person is somebody that is responsible with credit because you might go for help and get hurt, and it give you a headache to get their account off. All right, let me just run here. I don't want to keep you much longer. You get weary on me. Are we doing good? Are we doing good? I finish the slides. I have a few more. Uh-uh. I'm gonna skip some of them. All right, automatic segment of your score, and then I'm gonna do how to repair your credit after this. I have some other stuff, but I'm gonna skip that. Let me tell you how to maximize your score. You remember I told you earlier how you can get a 700 credit score without having perfect segment? What is the most important segment? You remember? Your payment history. How much I said it is? 35%. How much points did I told you that was? 192.5 points, right? And how much I say you have flat that you don't have to do anything to get? 300 points. Add that to the 300. What are we at? 492. What is the next segment that is the most important? Utilization. How much I told you that was? 165 somewhere around about there? Add that to the 192. How much we have? 350 some points. Put that to the 300. Where are we at? Just with those two segments, we are 650. Where are we on the chart when we look on it? We would have fair credit just by controlling those two parts. And then we have mixture of credit and we have inquiry. Each of those are 10%, right? 55 points. Any one of those we master, where are we? 700. You see it? And we have two more left that we can do terrible in and still have a 700 score. Let me show you how to maximize each segment now. You need a 100% payment history. Once you have a 100%, you're going to get the 192. Where it comes on to your utilization, if you go above 30%, say if you have $1,000 and you go above $300 on the use, you're gonna be above 30%. Once you're carrying the balance, you can use the entire $1,000. If you pay it back by the payment due date, it will act as if you never used it. That is another thing that you gotta learn between you. Payment due date, your statement date, and your credit card. Two different dates. Let me first 100% payment history, you are getting the 192. Utilization, once you are over 30%, it's going to affect your score negatively. You need to be below 30%. Ideally, you need to be below 10%. Ideally, like about 5%. Now, watch this. Even if you are below 5 or 10%, you might not maximize all of the. How you maximize all of the? If you have more than two credit cards, right? Even if you are under 5%, do not carry a balance on more than three of the cards. Say you have five cards, six cards, or whatever, above three, do not carry a balance on more than three, even if you're under the 10%. Once you're carrying a balance on more than three, you're not going to get all of the score, all of the points. So you got to make sure some of the cards don't have any balance. And you just pay odd inquiries, you don't want more than three odd inquiries to your span. If once you cover four, you will lose points. Credit history, you're talking about 82 points. You usually need to have about 5 years or more established over the credit. You want to get perfect 82 points, you need over 11 years, somewhere around about there. How can you get that if you don't have the 11 years? How can you get it? She told us earlier, she told him about building credit. Become an authorized user and someone that established credit a long time ago. Their ears will come off on yours. If you have, for example, if your utilization, you have $10,000 and you use $9,000, right? And you don't have the money to pay down to get the utilization down. If you have somebody that have a $20,000 card or a couple cards, put you on as an authorized user, their balances come over to you. And as a example, say you have $1,000, use $4,000. How much is your utilization? 100%. Correct? $1,000 you use $1,000. How much is the utilization? 100%. If I have Sister Peaches and she has a $5,000 card and I ask her to add me as an authorized user, how much money now I have available to me as for credit? 6,000. My 1,000 plus hers. What will happen to my utilization when that was just 100? How much percent am I sitting now? Below 20%. Because now the $1,000 is being matched against the 6,000 as opposed to my 1,000. That's how you deal with the utilization if you don't have any money. You understand what I'm saying? Or if you don't establish any new credit, if your score is in a range that's good, you open a new card and get a new credit limit and it balances out. That's how you maximize all of the segments. Are we clear on how to maximize the segments? Go ahead. You could, because you could add authorized user for a period of time. And then another, you have companies that sell authorized user slots. Basically, you can buy slots and somebody that already have credit that is selling you the slot on their credit. I don't encourage people to do this, but it can be done and it's legitimate. But I usually just tell people if you have family member or friend where you have more control. Because you have people sometimes that do it and then the reporting didn't take place and your money is gone. Because they charge you $1,000, it's 400, 700, depending on the age of the credit and all of that. So you can remove them. You can add people and remove them. Go ahead. Yeah. All right. Let me wrap up. Don't be late. Don't go over with the utilization. Don't get any collections. Don't get any bankruptcies. Don't do more than four odd inquiries. All right? And avoid public records. All right. I'm going to wrap up debt collection or something like that. Some of you have work to go. All right. So here's my information. You need to find me. Slide number 31. You will find me there. Kyronicfinancial.com. That's me. That's where you can find me. If you want my number, I can give you my number. That way you can reach. Huh? I don't have any on me right now. That's my. That don't look like me. Do I look older? Which one? That look older because I was fatter at that. I was a bit. So Kyron, if you want my number, tell me so I give it to you. 347. That's my cell phone number. Company number is different, but if you want direct, huh? 347 965 9037. Yeah, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Kyronic Financial. 347 347 That is my direct number. The company number is an 800 number, but church is different. You have? Yes. Negative statement or negative account. The statement on your credit report is different from your account. Yes. So if you have negative accounts, that is what credit is for, and that's what I do. Actions. Yes, yes, that's what I do. That's what the company does. So if you have negative things on your credit, that's what I do. That's what I help to remove. But what I tell you when you and I will everyone, credit repair is not a quick fix. Sometimes the company respond to you 1, 2, 3, and sometimes you have to plow it out with them. I use consumer law, the laws that exist to protect your credit. Once you have negative items, you come along, and once you have the patience, I can help. Patience, that is the key. Anyone, say this, anyone that tells you, let me say it to you, once you come to me, I guarantee you that it will be gone. That is illegal. That right there is a violation of the law. But any negative item that's there can be removed legally. Yeah, it's a monthly fee. And there is also a one-time fee that you pay, as well as a monthly fee. Huh? People that is not in the church. He said that I give church people a different price. My regular fee, the one-time fee is $145. And then we have three. If you come as a husband and wife, it's $100 a month. If you come and you have more than 5 negative accounts, it's $149. If you have less than five, it's 129. Usually, when it's people in the church, I give them a discount. That is based on the relationship that I have. It all depends on the relationship. For you here, $100 a month. That's it. And you only pay that once. And when I say $100 a month, let me explain how it works. $100 a month doesn't mean that I am going to charge you on the 8 or the 9. It means anytime I am sending off a dispute, then I charge you. When you send out a dispute, you can take anywhere from 30 45 days to hear back from the credit bureau and the credit card. So once we hear back and I'm going to send a first set of dispute, that's when you pay down. You're paying me for my knowledge, the knowledge that I have. You don't have. You know consumer law? You know consumer law? No, I'm answering you. I'm saying what you can do it yourself. One of the things when you sign up with me, right? You will get a disclosure that tells you that you can do it yourself. If you choose to do it yourself, you do it. But if you need my expertise, that's what you pay. Anyone can fix their own credit. Anyone. You don't need someone once you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, then you need someone to pay for the knowledge that the person has and the experience that they have. Go ahead. For whatever time it takes for it to come out. I have clients that will explain to you. Every month you do a dispute. What a credit repair company does, they are the middleman between you and the creditor, debt collector, or a credit bureau. Sometime, like for example, let me take a case. First time I send out the letter, it's to be gone because I know exactly where the violation was. I know our right. I have clients, so she get fixed fast. I have clients that have the same kind of account, same exact account, same govern, same people, but the credit and the credit bureau decide to play tough. And it takes 5, 6 months to get it out. So I have client that is with me 1 month, 3 months, a year. All depends on how much issues you have and the issue. Every time a credit report is not the same. Some certain things is much different. And different strategies and different laws and knowing things. Sometimes an account I can just deal with the bureau. Sometimes the account I have to deal with the credit, I have to deal with the bureau, I have to do all kinds of different things. So that is why no one that does credit repair legally by law. The law tell you you can't do it. Cannot come to you and say, I guarantee you 100% this will be gone. If I do tell you that in 1 month it will be gone and it's not gone, you can basically sue me because that is deceptive and misrepresentation because I never did that in 1 month. So that is why a credit repair company cannot guarantee you anything. Because in the law, it's a yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Thank you. That is why if you are listening, I said, I am going to scratch the surface, and if you need me to come back, I come back. You remember hearing this? If you don't know about credit, I can't tell you, so I can't skip grade. If the foundation is not laid in grade one, I can't give you core grade work. So it is a process. You want me to come back and I discuss other aspects. Remember what I said in the beginning, the vast amount of information, and there's levels to the information. Now, what you just said, that account that you're paying for, you don't need to pay for that. You can get all of that for free. I am telling you, all that you're paying for, you don't need to pay for, and you would have all of it. Every single thing that you're getting, you can get it for free. You were upset on that account. Go ahead. Yes, I'm gonna let them leave now. Sister Peaches, let us let us stand and close up in prayer. Thank you very much for your time. Some of you have to go to work.